In the band world on the show, we have to have a lot of control over the dynamics. Of course, because we're so close to the audience and we're really keeping that close, intimate feel, we can't have a drum kit blasting away right next to an audience member. So we have a Roland V drum kit that has some great sounds on it. And actually, a lot of time we get a lot of rave reviews as to how the kit sounds, which maybe you wouldn't normally have with an electric drum kit on a show. Our drummer Alex is fantastic on that. We have a lot of live percussion as well, so it really keeps that feel. He's also on stage playing some drums as well, which is really cool to see when the drummer comes out on stage and plays live. One challenge that we have, and it really is because of the environment we're in with Cirque du Soleil, that have such a high quality of show, we never want to have a show stop. We want to have redundancy every single step of the way. So if something was to go down, anything at all, we always need to have a plan B or a plan C and further. So if it's the front of house console, the monitor console is also doing a front of house mix the entire time. Or subsequently, if it's the monitor console, the front of house console is also doing in-ears mixes as well for the band. We have all these tracks running behind the band as well, and we can drop that in at any time we wish. The band leaders both have control over a redundant playback rig on Ableton. And for the most part of the show, it's all played live, but if ever anything was to happen on any microphone, any artist, or anything at all, we have everything played to a click track. So we could flip all the inputs on the consoles, both at monitors and at front of house, and continue on like nothing happened at all. Our male and female vocalists, who are wonderfully talented, sometimes singing with the rest of the band in the band pits. Other times they're on DPA headsets with the Sennheiser transmitters, and they're walking around the stage and they're singing as well. So it's really cool to see them come out and perform with the artist on stage, but then also form back part with the band and form that kind of soundscape there. We're really lucky on this show. We have such a great relationship with the band. I think that's the one tool that anyone can have on a successful show for sound, is to have a great band and have a really good relationship with them. They're amazingly talented, really easy to work with, and really makes our lives so much easier. They really embrace when we try new things and try and help them, and we're constantly listening together and talking about sound, and it's really rare to have that environment in any kind of show with the artist, so very special. When it comes to the audio gear on Corteo, we have a Soundcraft VI6 console at front of house. We're using all 96 channels of it and pretty much all of the buses. It's a very packed board. That's running the main mix for the show, as well as running the backup lines for the monitor console for the artists as well. We are then sending that audio to the Galileo and Callistos from Maya Sound, and that's running through a Maya system as well. We've got 24 melodies, micas for delays, 700 HPs for subs, and some 600s as well. We have front fills, we have a number of surround cabinets as well that are floated out in the audience with some big chandeliers hanging underneath them. The cool thing about having surround speakers and so many zones of PA is that we can move some things around visually, and we use a Q station system with Matrix 3 units to do that. So we're running sound effects from there as well with wild tracks. In addition to this, we're also running a Waves Max Bass unit that gives us some low-end harmonics, as well as some compressors on the vocals as well, on the headset microphones. With the handheld microphones, the vocalists can kind of move about the mic and really get the dynamics they wish. On headsets, you really have to kind of control that a little bit for them and ourselves at front of house as well. When we're tuning the PA, we have a number of reference microphones we put across the room. We're doing lots of averages. There's lots of different zones of the PA that we're covering. So whether it's on stage with what we call the crossfires, which do a on-stage fill as well as the front audience, against a whole hang of 24 melodies, we want to make sure that each person is getting the same kind of image on stage and the same feeling. For PA drive, we're running AES everywhere with fiber MADI as well for audio signal between the consoles and stage boxes. And then we're also running a network ring for all our data. So at any point of our system, we can access almost every other unit via web browsers through our network. For the band pits, for the two band leaders, they're both running a redundant keyboard rig. So they have Yamaha XF8 keyboards for the internal sounds, and they're also controlling some contact sounds as well via MIDI. They also have another separate Roland controller each, which is controlling Ableton and controlling the cues in the show. So whilst the entire show is running live, everything is still multi-tracked and sitting there ready to go to the click track that they're all listening to. So if anything happens, we can always switch into one of the backup lines and fix a problem and have them back up and running live again. On the saxophones and the clarinet, we're running AMT microphones, and we're also running some of the DPA 4099. Our vocalists are on stage, and then they're also in the band pits. So when they're on stage, they're using the DPA 4088 headset microphones. And when they're in the band pits singing with the band, they're on Neumann KMS 105s, which sound absolutely fantastic. Everyone in the band has a switch microphone and they can communicate with themselves and with us as well. They use Sennheiser E835s. And that's really important because the band is split up in 4 different areas. We want to make sure they have complete communication control the entire time. If something goes wrong, if they need a hand with something, our RF technician can run out and help them during the show. In the drum and percussion pit, whilst the electric drums don't need to be mic'd up, we have a lot of acoustic percussion, and for that we use Sennheiser or Neumann microphones. We've got Sennheiser E906s, we've got the KM184s from Neumann, and we also have a couple of E604s from Sennheiser as well. We got a lot of those, including the tom that comes on stage wireless. We have an E604 on that as well. For the characters on stage, a number of them are mic'd up. We have a couple on headset microphones, a couple on hairline microphones, and a couple on lavs. And that is dependent a lot on their costume as well as what they do on stage. Maro, our lead character, has a headset microphone. He's the main character of the show, so it's really important that we have a great close mic sound for him. A lot of our artists are really great at putting their own headset on and knowing where the microphone should sit or shouldn't. And that really helps us as well as the sound department, giving them the ability to kind of know where they should be sitting. One of our acts, the vocalist, is not only performing an aerial piece, she's also singing as well. So we have her hairline mic'd. And the great thing about the Sennheiser 6000 series packs is that they're so low profile and they weigh absolutely nothing that she can wear that and do a whole trick. She's falling from great heights and it doesn't bother her at all. Moving every week, we obviously have to do a new frequency coordination for every city we're in. The Sennheiser 6000 series really helps us with that. Being all digital, we have no issues at all with interharmonic distortion. They're really easy to use. And even simple things like the networkable chargers, so we can see in WSM from any computer in our rig what the battery life is looking for the next round of batteries are going to be putting in, as well as the ones that are already on stage. So it really helps us with redundancy in terms of that. In other systems, other shows, we might have used analog wireless microphones. And here with the Sennheiser 6000s, the fact that they're digital is fantastic. One of the issues manufacturers had before, I think, was the latency that digital brings in, especially when so many other parts of the system is digital as well, the console, the in-ears, so on and so forth. They really have brought the latency down to almost negligible, and it really helps us with the artist to have a real-time monitoring system. In the monitor world, we're also running a Soundcraft console. It's a VI3000. We're doing a number of different mixes for the artists. We have 8 band members. So we're doing mixes for them. We also have mixes for front of house, as well as mixes for comms and other utility sources as well. The backbone of the system is our direct out MADI matrix. So all the audio from the stage boxes, from the consoles, recording computers and keyboard computers all comes in as MADI fiber. And the great thing about those is the MIDI in. So when the band leader switches from primary to redundant, it also sends a MIDI trigger to send a command that changes the MADI matrix. So there's almost no loss in audio, and the show can run with the backup tracks. For the in-ears, we're running a Wizicom system, and we're using Ultimate Ears UE11 for monitoring the artist. And they're great. They're molded to everyone's ears. Everyone on stage, they can do these acts and move around a lot without them falling out, and they sound fantastic. So obviously here at Corteo, we've got some great gear. It's been an awesome experience building this kit over the last year, and I've certainly learned a lot. Advice I'd give to people getting into the industry would certainly be to broaden your skills in a networked environment. Networked audio is definitely the primary backbone for pretty much every major system you see these days, and I'd say that any experience in an IT field is almost more important than tuning a drum kit or miking up a guitar amp. It can be daunting, but it's also really exciting with what you can do at the same time. So I really think it's important that with any new people coming into this industry, that we really nurture them and give them great support and advice, because they're the people who are going to be working alongside you in years to come.